He's been given his results and he failed almost every class. How's he gonna tell his parents? What's he gonna do with his life? Jeffrey starts having an existential crisis. These grades aren't good enough for any job. And so what does Jeffrey do to fix all of this? He opens up Steam on his computer and he spends the rest of the day playing video games. Fast forward a few years and Jeffrey's working a low-tier job that he dislikes so heavily. He makes just enough per month to keep inside of the rat race. You see, in the virtual world, Jeffrey is successful. He's a warrior. He's a knight. But in real life, he's a loser. He's a creep. Isn't it so obvious that Jeffrey would prefer spending all of his time in the virtual world instead? What a sad reality for most young men, and you probably can relate. Adonis has built up a fantastic life through hard work, discipline, and consistency. Adonis was promoted to become the tribe leader. That level of responsibility and leadership feels so incredibly fulfilling to him. Adonis lives the ultimate male life. He lives the life that all men, whether or not they have the confidence to admit it, actually want. And that's because Adonis reserved all of his brain power, his energy, and his time for his accomplishments in the real world. Adonis has noticed more and more young men being consumed by these weird rectangle screens. It's strange. Why do they grind in these video games when they could grind in real life? You and I both know it's an absolute fact that video games attract losers. The truth is that something has to be lacking in your real life to be sucked into video games. Now take a second. The majority of video games are targeted towards the young male population. What do the majority of young men in schools, colleges, universities, or low-end jobs, what do they lack? They lack intimacy, love, sex, relationships. They lack status. They lack a feeling of brotherhood and connectivity and friends. And they lack feelings of accomplishment, feeling successful. Video games offer all four of these things in a very quick manner. These things that young men want can take years, even decades to get. But in a video game, in the virtual world, you can get feelings of these in just a few hours. Do this right now. Use your empathy to really feel what like a young man, like some 18-year-old man, feels when he's drawn into video games. He feels inadequate in the real world, like things are missing. But then he's offered this virtual world where he can get everything so quickly. And so he plays the game and he plays for a few hours and it feels so addictive. His dopamine's being spiked and he feels so happy and he feels so proud and so excited. He spends 3, 4, 5 hours playing this video game, and now when he logs off for the day, his life is kind of worse. He just spent 5 hours sat down on his crusty black computer chair. He ate shit food like snacks whilst he was gaming. He had important work to do which he's procrastinated on. Now technically all of those negative things should really make him feel so motivated to say, okay, I'm not going to play video games, I'm going to focus on the real world. But what seems to happen to a big percentage of men is that those extra pressures, like, oh, they've procrastinated from their work today, actually draws them back to the video game because it's so comfortable, till eventually his life in the virtual world is so much better than his life in the real world. In the video game, he's a dragon slayer. He has a clan of people who rely on him. Or in the real world, he works a shitty job and he doesn't like his life. So it can be so easy for this young man to just start spending all of his time in the virtual world. And this is probably what you've experienced yourself, because we're talking about this young man, but the young man is you. The young man is me. When you put a face on the consequences of video games, it starts to get quite dark because you realize that the motivation that you've had to achieve something with your life, to level up, to get ready to become a father, to provide and protect for your family, that motivation has been stripped away from you and redirected into video games. And the Jeffreys around you will try and convince you that, no, you're the problem. It's your fault that you get addicted to them. They've been made to be addictive. It isn't your fault that you're addicted to video games because they've been carefully designed to be addictive. You're the victim here. And then the Jeffreys might say, oh, well, if you just play 1 hour a day, then it's okay. It's never 1 hour. Come on, if you've been a video gamer, you know 1 hour is not enough. You know that it takes like 5-10 minutes to even like get inside, like get into the game. And you have to wait 20 minutes for your dumbass friend who's making food. No one is playing 1 hour a day. Answer this question right now. Do you want to become successful? Because if you do, there's one thing that you really need to start implementing: long-term thinking. Don't think about the outcome of just today. Think about where your life will be 5-10 years down the line when you make that decision. Visualize yourself quitting video games and see where the trajectory of your life would go. It would change so significantly. You would save so much time, but also like mental energy to put in more productive things. Now visualize.
I can listen to this guy.